Hey guys, Danny here. Today we are reviewing a tiny little action camera. I picked this one up myself. This wasn't sent to me for review. Now I have reviewed the previous models of this camera. This is the SQ23. I'll be unboxing this, going through the setup with you, and we'll also be doing some video samples, so stay tuned for that. As always, if you would like to pick one of these up, I'll put a link down in the description for you. Be sure to check that out in case I find any coupon codes for you. I couldn't find any major differences between this camera and the previous model, which was the SQ13. This is the SQ23. Bit of a weird number change. I don't know why they've done this, but nonetheless it makes no difference to me. But the camera does have a slightly different design, and it does come in this waterproof case. Well, it's supposedly waterproof. I didn't actually test it because I didn't want to take the risk, but it doesn't look too bad. It reminds me of kind of like a GoPro style case. It does also have buttons on top of the case, so you are still able to operate the camera, although it should be a little bit trickier to see what you're doing. It does have this latch on the side here, which is pretty easy to open if you do it correctly, which I don't do at first. I'm kind of like, how do I get into this damn thing? Then I realize I'm pulling the wrong side. The camera is very similar in design to the previous model. It does share some similarities. It's roughly the same size and the same weight. It does have a micro USB on the side for charging. You have two buttons on the top. One is your power button, the other is your mode button, and of course you've got a micro SD slot on the side. The finish of the case is slightly different. It's not quite as rubbery as the previous model, but it again is still very similar. There is another mount in the case. It's also similar to some of the GoPro mounts you might have seen before. It's using the same system with this little pin that you can unscrew on the side, so this may actually work if you have some attachments for other action cameras. I haven't actually tested that, but it does look similar, so I don't see why it wouldn't work. And there is a third mount which is magnetic with a glue strip on the bottom, so you can stick this onto a surface and the top part pivots, so you can attach it to many different things. We also get a micro USB charging cable to charge up the device, and you can also use this to transfer files over to your PC. I will be using a SanDisk Ultra 32GB micro SD card. The mechanism on the side is a click mechanism, so it does have a nice little click and stays in place. It's also flush with the body, so it doesn't stick out at all, which is always nice. Now I'm going to run through the different modes and what the buttons do for this camera. So to switch it on, you hold the power button for a few seconds, which is the big one on the left here. Once you do that, you will get a little flash from the bottom right indicator, which shows that it's turned on. To take a picture, you simply hit the power button once and it will flash blue at the bottom left by the camera symbol. That means you've taken a picture. I'll do that again for you now. To capture video, it's slightly different. We use the mode button on the right. You simply press that for about a second, and then you will see the camera icon will start blinking blue, which means you are recording. Sometimes it's a little weird. It doesn't always start straight away and you have to click the button again. I don't know why it does this. And you simply do the same thing to stop the recording. You'll see it'll go back to the red status. To put the camera into Wi-Fi mode, you hold the mode button for 2 seconds and you'll see the green LED lights up, and from there you can just connect to the camera using your Wi-Fi on your smartphone, open up the app, and you're good to go. To get into night vision mode, you need to start a recording, and from there you hold the mode button for a few seconds and you'll see the little yellow light will come on and night vision mode is engaged. Please note you can only see these LEDs through the camera lens. You won't be able to see these with your naked eye, so when you're in night vision mode, don't expect to see these little purple lights. For some reason only a camera will pick them up, so you can see this on the screen right now, but you won't see it with your naked eye, so you'll just have to trust that they're on. When you plug in the device to charge, sometimes the red LED will stay on for a little while and then it will start to blink. When it starts blinking, that means the device is charging. When it's fully charged, it will stay fully lit, as you'll see here. Hi guys, I'm now going to do a video and audio test. I remember when I tested the SQ13, it had pretty poor audio. So I'm going to test this out and see how it comes out, and then we'll do some further video tests. So for that first test, I had a very similar issue that I had with the previous camera, and that is the audio was really quiet and I had to boost it in my video editor, which just seems really strange. I also had to do the same for this clip here. Now the video quality doesn't really seem that much different to the previous model of the camera, so I can't really say I notice much of a difference. It does seem to be maybe slightly crisper, but other than that the colors are pretty washed out and pretty dull. The focus isn't too bad. When you get really close up to stuff like this, it doesn't really handle it very well, but it does have a nice wide field of view, and for its low cost the camera quality isn't atrocious, but there probably are some better options out there. The app that this camera uses is the same as the previous model. It still works in the same way and is still not bad to use. It could use some improvements, but I wasn't expecting too much for such a small cheap camera. Now there's a bunch of settings you can change in here, such as the resolution, whether you want a date stamp to be shown, whether to record audio, and you can change your picture resolution, change the date and time. There's also some options in here to auto power off the device after a certain amount of time, change the language, format the SD card. You also have an option to upgrade the firmware. I don't know if they ever actually released any firmware upgrades for the previous version. You can change the password, and that is the password to get into the camera at the bottom there if you need to know that. It's 12345678. Very original. This is how the main screen looks for the app. If you touch anywhere on the screen, you'll get additional options that pop up. On the left hand side you have controls that will save any picture or video you take directly to your phone. On the right hand side, this is to save to the micro SD card built into the camera. So it is really nice that you have two options here. So for example, if on the right hand side I hit the recording icon, this will start recording to the micro SD card. We'll also get a resolution at the bottom to show us what resolution we're currently recording in. Then from there you can actually go to the folder, which will pull up any clips from the micro SD card, and then from there you can preview them, or you can actually download them to your smartphone. But it does take a really long time. If you do a picture, for example, it takes quite a while, but a video would just take forever, so it's not really a feature I'd think you're going to use very often. Here I wanted to do a test of the Wi-Fi signal strength. The main screen is a video file taken from the microSD from the camera, and the bottom left is from the Wi-Fi feed. Unfortunately, the signal didn't seem quite as strong as the previous version. I was able to get an extra few foot away before it broke up, but on this one it seemed slightly worse, but it's pretty marginal. For a camera so small, I think that the fact that it has Wi-Fi is still pretty impressive, and it is usable at a very close distance. You just can't get too far away from the camera, but there are maybe some ways around this. There could be interference in this area, or you could get a signal booster, but probably not extra steps you really want to have to do. But here anyway, you can see it does indeed work. Okay, so I'm now in a completely dark room. I can't even see if I have myself in shot. Hopefully I do. So this is the night vision mode. We're going to test how well this works, and maybe I'll talk a little bit about the previous versions and if it's any better. So hopefully you can see me pretty clearly. Just a quick tip, you can also use this camera as a webcam. Plug it in via USB like you're going to transfer files, then turn it on and it will act as a webcam for your computer. Have fun. So as you can see, I've mounted the camera in my car, just using the sticky pad on the bottom, and hopefully this holds up pretty well and doesn't move around too much. It does feel quite sturdy. So we're going to finish up here with a clip of me driving my car and using the camera, just to give you an idea if you was thinking of using this for some sort of dash cam. It does state that it supports loop recording and also recording while charging, so you could use this for quite a few different things. Unfortunately, it still doesn't appear to have motion detection, which the SQ12 had. The last two versions of this camera don't appear to have motion detection. I can't seem to see it in the manual or find a way to initiate it, which I know some of you use, so that is a shame. There doesn't really seem to be any huge reasons to upgrade from the previous version of this camera. The camera quality does look slightly better, but all of the features seem very similar, and again the camera quality seems very much the same. So if you're using the SQ13, I don't really see much of a reason to upgrade. If you have some of the previous versions of the camera and you would like to have the addition of Wi-Fi, then this may be an option for you. As always, I'll put a link down in the description if you would like to pick one of these up. I hope this video has been really helpful for you. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more videos like this one, and of course I will see you in the next one.